What's up, everybody? Welcome into MLB DFS Live for Friday, August 14th. I'm your host, Ben Haas. We're joined by Justin Bales. Bales, it's been a minute. Tuesday was my birthday, so we weren't on the pod. Wednesday was your anniversary, so you weren't on the pod. And then yesterday we had that weird, game started at 4. It was so weird to be watching, the main slate, and it was 5:30 Eastern, so that was weird. So it's been a minute since we're on the pod. Obviously, we have a big Friday slate, so I'm excited to get into it. Before we do, be sure you check out Super Draft. As you can see right next to my face, if you're watching the stream, promo code Karma gets you a $10 deposit bonus on your first deposit. Obviously, it's a new way to play fantasy. No salary cap. Different multipliers for different players. So there's, obviously different ways you can build your lineup given the multipliers, but you can play anybody that you want. You can literally stack your whole team with guys you want. So it's really fun. Really fun way to play. Our Discord's having a lot of fun with it, so be sure to check that out. And you can get the deposit bonus if you are signing up with our promo code. That being said, I think we should probably get into the slate. This is a pretty big slate. We'll start at pitcher. I'll let you go first because I do have some takes. I do have some takes on pitching today, so I'll let you go first, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's obvious. Garrett Cole is the number one option with DeGrom getting scratched. It's pretty clear-cut Cole because I don't think you're going to go Clayton Kershaw for only 400 less. After that, though, especially if you don't think you can get up to Cole because you're using Texas and cash, which I know is your dilemma, there's just so many different places to go. So I'll rattle off some guys that I like. Sonny Gray at 96, obviously. My only concern is that he's pitching in Cincinnati against Pittsburgh. I don't like Pittsburgh's offense very much, but they don't seem to strike out a ton, so that's a bit concerning. Valdez against Seattle is going to get some ownership. I'm cool with that. You have either side of the Chatwood Woodruff game. I'm fine with realistically either side of them. Lamet in Arizona will probably get some ownership. I don't really see this being a situation where you have two clear cut that you're using a duo on DraftKings. I think it's going to more or less be Garrett Cole and then one other guy that's kind of spread out. Just for cheaper guys that I like, Pablo Lopez, I actually think he's a very good pitcher, and he obviously gets Atlanta without two of their best three hitters, I would say. So I think that he's fine for 6,900. And then if you wanted to drop all the way down to 4,000 just to fit in some bats, Spencer Howard is a very, very good prospect for the Phillies. Got a bit unlucky in his first game. He gets a matchup against the Mets, which I don't love, but I also don't hate. And he's only 4K, so feel free to use him and pair him with Cole, and it should allow you to fit in at least a few Texas bats.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I do think so. If you're playing DraftKings, it is possible to fit Cole in Texas if you use Spencer Howard. I'm probably using Spencer Howard in cash regardless on DraftKings because 4,000 is just too cheap. I talked about it in my article, which is live on the website if you want to go check that out. But Howard's kind of in the second tier of pitching prospects for me. He's not one of the best, but he is really good. 30% strikeouts in the minors. Got 12% swing and misses in his first outing with the Phillies, and he went around 80 pitches, so you really shouldn't expect him to be limited in this start. So even if I don't think he's one of the top pitching prospects in the league, he's way better than anybody that is $4,000 on DraftKings, right? So I don't know if he's fully MLB ready yet. I think he needs a little bit more seasoning in the minors. But at $4,000, I really just don't care. I don't really see how he hurts you at that price. He certainly could have a bad start. I wouldn't be shocked. If he goes out and has a bad start, I won't be shocked because I don't know if he's fully ready for the majors. But at $4,000, I'll take the risk every single time. He has strikeout ability, and I think he can, even if he gives up a couple runs, it's really not going to matter. I think can very easily beat that price. So for DraftKings, I'm playing Spencer Howard. Cole definitely is the number one. I think Cole was the number one for me anyways, even before DeGrom got scratched. But now that's just going to push even more ownership to Cole because anyone that's spending up is going to use him, obviously, over Kershaw. So I think he's fine in cash. I don't think you need to play him in cash, but I think he's completely fine. Like I think you can play Howard, Cole, and then get Texas. Like I think that is easily doable. So I think you can do that. The mid tier is just loaded, dude. I love Sonny Gray. I'm a big Sonny Gray fan. I like Aaron Savall more than him for this specific slate. The Tigers obviously strike out a lot, projected to strike out 26% of the time against righties this lineup. And Savall last year was not good, in my opinion. I don't think he was a very good pitcher last year. His fastball's horrible, threw his sinker a lot, and he's just completely changed his pitch mix this year. He's going completely off speed. Doesn't throw a sinker at all, really, anymore. And he throws his curveball a lot more. His curveball is really good, over 45% whiffs with his curveball. Tigers struggle with curveballs really bad. Like, if you pull up their numbers against curveballs, they're one of the worst in the league. So I think it's a really good matchup for him. I don't love his price because, like you said, Sonny Gray's only 300 more. 9 out of 10 slates, I'd be playing Sonny Gray at 300 more than Savall. But I think on this specific one, I like Savall a little bit more. So I'm cool being overweight on him. Lamet, I think, is fine. He just had a big start against the same team, so I definitely could see him getting some attention with DeGrom being scratched now. But it's not like the greatest. You know, I can never trust his pitches, so it's tough for me to spend that price for him when you could just go up to Gray. Savall's going to pitch like 100 pitches, so they're a little bit safer in terms of pitch count, so I like them more. The one guy I want to bring up, Pablo Lopez, I think is a great call by you. I do like him in GPPs. The other guy we have to bring up is Jesus Luzardo. He was not supposed to start, and then Frankie Montes got scratched, and now he's starting. He's not on short rest. He pitched like the 9th, I think was his last outing.
Yeah,
So this is like his regular turn. And this is one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. I mean, this guy is disgusting. Really good slider. A lot of swing and misses. A lot of ground balls, too. He can strike out and get ground balls. The Giants lineup doesn't project to strike out a lot. So 78 on DK, I think, is more for tournaments. But this guy's 6,400 on FanDuel. And I was already kind of considering Spencer Howard at min price on FanDuel. So now I can just spend not even 1,000 more and get Jesus Luzardo. I'm probably going to play Luzardo in cash on FanDuel, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issues with that. It's like, even if the Giants don't strike out a lot, that's not an offense that's going to scare you. It's not in the slate.
Yeah, they're not a good offense. If you guys have any questions in chat on pitchers we haven't mentioned, go ahead and ask, because this is a loaded pitching slate. Like we would be on here forever if we were talking about all of these guys. There are a lot of guys. Valdez is a guy probably not going to make the cut for me. I think he could be a little bit overowned just because he gets the Seattle bump. I don't think he's bad, but he's 88. Like, I would rather play Savall. I would rather get up to Sonny Gray.
Even Chatwood at 9-1, I think.
Yeah, dude, Chatwood, people are not going to play Chatwood because he had that bad start in his last time out. He didn't even have a bad start. Like, nothing he did was bad. He just got unlucky with BABIP. Like, nothing he did in terms of, like, swing and misses or anything was off. Like, he looked exactly like he's looked the whole season. So I would rather play Chatwood than Valdez if he's going to be significantly lower owned as well. I think
and
that's a good call.
What's the wind in Chicago? 6 miles an hour in, so.
Yeah, slight bump there. Dude, honestly, I've been attacking the Brewers a ton. I mean, I've used some pretty bad pitchers against the Brewers this season. Like, they're just not a great offense.
I have Chatwood right now in my main GPP. My only concern that I have is that I have $300 left over, so I can get Savall or Lamet instead of him.
Yeah, well, how much is he on DK?
He's 91.
Yeah, so like that's the problem with him for me is just the price. I don't think he's a bad play at all though. Like in a vacuum, it's just I would play Savall. I'd probably play Gray. I would probably rather drop almost 2K and get Luzardo at that point.
Now I'm rethinking it. Right now he's in though. I
don't think he's a bad play. Like he's gonna be literally 5% owned. Like no one is playing Tyler Chatwood today.
The last time we had Chatwood, we were looking at ownership projections, and everything was like 5%. And remember it?
Yeah, he was like
40%.
Yeah, there's no chance that happens today though. He already saw this Brewers team once and he destroyed them.
Yeah, I think he dropped over 30.
And that was a day game with the wind blowing out.
And I think that was not limited pitches, but I think it was less. I think it was like right around 80.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think he's a bad play. It's just there's so many guys today. He just kind of like he's in that weird tier, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to stacks. I mean, cores is the obvious ones. Texas is going to be mega chalk today. Like, you're playing Texas in cash. Don't have to play them in tournaments though. Yankees are next, I think, against Colton Brewer. So how I'm like Texas is going to be chalk. I like the Rockies a lot in tournaments because people are not going to play them against Lance Lynn. That's just straight up. But they're still in cores. Lance Lynn, he has gotten a little lucky with BABIP this year. He does allow tip. If you look the last 2 years, he's allowed a higher ISO to righties than lefties. So that's obviously good for Arenado and Story. But it's just the fact that he could easily have a bad start in course field, and Texas is going to be so much higher owned than Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. I like that as a pivot. There's there's so many good stacks though. Like Minnesota, I absolutely love. There's going to be a lot of rain in that game, I believe. So keep an eye on that, but it's also going to make sure that they come in super low owned. And if you're taking the hitters, it doesn't really matter if the game gets delayed. Then you have like Cleveland against Nova. We know how bad he is. All in there. Philly against Lockett. Lockett, if you don't know who he is because he's starting for DeGrom, not an MLB talent, I can tell you that much. So go ahead and take Philly there. You even have like the Dodgers. I'm not a Sandoval guy. I don't think he's that good. So I have no problems taking the Dodgers today. I mean, and we're not even looking at like lower stacks that like will just get no ownership whatsoever. Like Kyle Wright is atrocious. He kind of figured out his control in spring training, and then all of a sudden he's completely lost it. So Miami makes a high upside stack. I don't know. There's just so many different places to go, honestly.
Yeah, Philly's the one that sticks out for me in tournaments. 90% of people wrote their content this morning, so every casual DFS player that reads content was not reading anything about the Phillies, right? Because DeGrom was starting, so that really, I think that helps out because the ownership just isn't going to catch up to cores of the Yankees. So Philly's the one that sticks out for me. Bryce Harper was the cover boy in my article. I'd like to force him in. I think you can get him with Texas in cash, so I might try and do that just for like a little bit of, just to be different a little bit. Twins are a great one if the weather holds up.
I love the Twins. My only issue with getting Harper, obviously you can just take Harper over literally any of the Colorado or the Texas guys. I don't have any issues with that. But like if you're stacking the Rangers, you're not really going to avoid any of their three outfielders. They're like their three best hitters. So that makes Harper kind of tough.
Yeah, I agree with that. FanDuel, it's easy though because they have the utility, so
Yeah.
might be able to use it there. I'll have to mess around with lineups, but if you guys have any other questions on stacks, ask. We'll move on to the positional plays. Catcher's a wasteland today. I'm probably just going to be looking to save. Sandy Leone is min price on DK. Is he good? No, but he's $2,000, and then I can play anyone else I want. So I'll probably just play. I think he'll probably be popular too, honestly, just because I think people are looking to get Corzin. So I don't think he's good, but that's probably where I'm going on DraftKings. If you're talking about tournaments, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but I want to fill my stack in with the catcher because no one does that, generally speaking. Obviously, like Rio Muto, Grandal, those guys will get ownership, but for the most part, people don't use the catcher spot in DK for their stack. I do like Tucker Barnhart at 2,900 on DraftKings as well. I think he's playable in cash games because he's cheap.
Yeah. I like Barnhart. The two that stick out to me, they're not in the lineups yet, but they're both supposed to be, will be Austin Nola, as always, against the lefty. If he's hitting like fifth, I'm probably just going there. I don't really care that he plays Valdez. And Max Stassi against Clayton Kershaw. Again, he destroys left-handed pitching. He's probably going to hit much lower in the lineup, but at 3,100, you don't really need much. And realistically, you could just kind of luck your way into a home run or something, especially since Kershaw does give up the long ball on occasions. But outside of that, I mean, like, I don't know. There's no one that I'm really going to spend. Like, are you going to spend $4,300 on Jeff Mathis? That would be ridiculous.
No, that's horrible. The Angels are one we didn't talk about though. Like, what is your thoughts on an Angel stack in tournaments? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying stack against Kershaw, but they're going to be unowned. Kershaw's given up 45, 46% hard hits. I mean, they have Trout, Rendon, these guys obviously hit lefties really well. Stassi's been unreal against lefties this year. They have some other guys. I don't think it's a horrible move. Probably better if you're playing like the late slate though, because you're gonna be really low owned.
Yeah, I don't. I think if this was like a normal day, that would be like a great call. But with 13 games, and like if you can get Minnesota low owned compared to the Angels,
Yeah,
I mean,
you would
I'm
take
just gonna
Minnesota.
attack. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the stack against Junis and not hope that Kershaw gets blown up. But like, I don't think it's a bad play at all. I just also don't think you have to do it because there's 13 games and like you know exactly where the chalk's going with cores. Like even if this wasn't a core slate, I would be like, yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. But I don't know. I don't think we have to get that weird.
Agree with that. We got a Wild Thornberries fan in chat. Did you ever watch that classic cartoon from
Love it.
childhood?
Love it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a good one. I'm a fan. First base. So I think if we're talking about chalk on DraftKings, I think Todd Frazier is probably a way to get lower owned Texas Rangers exposure. I don't think most people will land on him 5K in cash. I think they'll be looking at the outfielders like you mentioned. Kiner Falefa's hitting second, I think, second or third,
Yeah, he's in
and
second.
he's relatively cheap at third base. So I don't think people will be getting to Frazier. So I don't mind him. You have Daniel Murphy there as well. Carlos Santana, I think, is the next one. Pretty cheap against Nova. Can use him in cash. Reese Hoskins, I like, and then if the weather holds up, you can use Marwin Gonzalez there on DK.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think you'll do this because you're using Howard, but Dom Smith is 3,500 and hitting fourth. I mean, if you haven't seen him, he's been on absolute fire. 3,500, I will easily take the salary relief there. Outside of that, I think you have like Joey Votto. Gets the matchup against Cool. I don't have any issues with that hitting third. Or you could take your shot on like Matt Olson against Cueto, or even like Luke Voigt if you want a high upside guy that probably isn't going to get much ownership.
Yeah, Voigt's a good play. Armando, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Second base. Who are you looking at second? I mean, I think you could like. I'm kind of confused what to do with Odor now. Just because he's batting seventh.
That's so bad.
Like it kind of sucks, but I mean, at the same time, does it really matter? It's just the problem of like he's so expensive.
Honestly, I mean, I would probably play Solak instead of Odor.
Yeah, what's the
400
price
cheaper.
difference there? Yeah. I can see doing that.
I could see either way, but dude, Odor's just been so bad, and I feel like that's fine for GPPs, but he's just so boom and bust.
I mean, I think Solak's a better hitter than Odor if we're just talking about that.
That's what I think too, and I don't think Castellani is like.
Yeah, I don't think you need to worry. I don't think you need to worry about handedness against him. I agree with that, dude. We went all in with Seattle against this guy. That was last weekend, I think, wasn't it?
Threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, he was like unbelievable. But I was watching him. He's not good. Like he's really not good. He gave up something crazy, like 70% hard contact. Dudes were hitting rocket line drives like right at people. It was just he got really lucky. So I don't think you need to worry about righty lefty versus him. So I agree with that. Someone in chat said, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do that against Sonny Gray, but."
Are you still talking? Did you go out?
Yeah, I think I'm back now though. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, someone in chat said Josh Bell birthday game. I mean, I like the narrative, but I don't think I can do that against Sonny Gray, man.
Yeah, I'll pass.
All right. Anyways, but second base. So Solak, yeah, I think that's fine in cash. I think you could use Hampson honestly as well, leading off. DJ LeMahieu, I think, is a really good play. Do you have anyone cheap here? I think the only cheap guy I was looking at was like Cesar Hernandez leading off for the Indians.
Yeah, I don't mind him, or Chris Taylor's hitting sixth for the Dodgers against the lefty. I feel like that's fine. Or Josh Van Heater is hitting
Yeah,
sixth.
dude. Shout out to Josh, man. Josh's friend of this stream had a home run a couple days ago. He cracked the ball last night. I thought it was out. I was getting ready to DM him. I was like, dude, it was so close. Got a little bit unlucky, but you can always play Josh Van Meter.
Yeah, so cheap too. Like it's just absurdly cheap.
Yeah, he's actually like good, man. That's my boy. I hope I might actually throw him in a tournament lineup just for when he hits a home run, so I can celebrate that. But
or any of the Mets second baseman. They have three
Yeah,
tonight,
so I was
all
gonna
under.
mention that, dude. Okay, so Aaron Judge just went on the IL. It's like classic Yankees, Stanton and Judge on the injured list. Like it's all they do, man. It's
They waited
unbelievable.
all night to put out the lineup. Everyone's been waiting for it,
Yeah, I was
and
hoping we got some Mike Ford action, and he's not in the lineup. I'm just kind of bummed about that.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Yankees are gonna be hurt. They'll always be hurt.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I was gonna mention, so if we're playing Howard in cash, I don't mind hedging with a Met stack in tournaments. Like I think that's fine. It's not like you need to hedge against a $4,000 pitcher, but I think a lot of people will be playing him in tournaments just because he's 4K. So I don't think that's the worst play.
And the Mets' offense isn't that bad.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not bad at all.
It's not that powerful, but it's especially not bad in terms of like hitting for average and stuff. Which on DraftKings, where you're gonna play Howard, is really gonna hurt him because you get the -6 for every hit.
Yeah, that's true. Third base, you're probably playing Kiner Falefa in cash games, at least on DK's 4K. It's probably where most people will go. I like Arenado as a pivot. Arenado's been on a tear, dude. He started out really slow the first couple weeks, but I mean, he's really picked it up. He's on fire right now. Like I said, I'm not really worried about Lynn and Coors. Plus, you're not really expecting Lynn to pitch the whole game, so he could see someone out of the bullpen. I haven't dug into the Texas Rangers bullpen, but I'm sure there's at least one lefty in. It honestly helps out this rule where they have to stay in for 3 batters. Like you're actually getting some pretty good matchups for your hitters when we get to the bullpen. Bregman, I think you can play every slate, but I like Rendon if you're choosing one of those other high price guys. Obviously against a lefty. Urshela's batting cleanup again at 4,900. Probably better for tournaments. And then the other guy I was looking at was Gene Segura. I don't think many people will look at him. Like you said, I don't expect the Phillies to be super high owned, but I just don't think people would play Gene Segura anyways, even if they were stacking the Phillies.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll add Justin Turner at 4,800 against the lefty. Feel free to go there. Jose Ramirez is 5,600, so not really sold I want to get that high, but against Nova, it's not really that bad, especially if you're stacking Cleveland. You're going to want to play him. And then Alec Boehm is only 2,100, and it's not like he's that bad.
No, I was gonna mention that's a great call. Scratch what I said about Gene Segura. If I'm playing someone with the Phillies, I'm playing Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm's a really good prospect. 2,100 is too cheap for someone that should be as good as he is, and I think he's like, I don't want to say he's as good as Gene Segura as a hitter right now, but he projects to be better than Gene Segura, and he's 2,100, so I'll just take him. And he batting 8th, no one will play him, so that's a better play. Shortstop, I'll let you go first here.
I mean, if you can get the Story, go ahead, get the Story. I don't really think you're going to use Elvis Andrus hitting 8th for Texas, especially since he's 4,700. I think you should be trying your absolute hardest to get to Trevor Story. If you can't, I mean, you have a few guys. Tatis is 5,600. That's 600 shy. Polanco is only 4,200. I actually really like that. Seager at 51 against a lefty. Most people probably won't play him, but he does hit left-handed pitching well. Outside of that, you can drop all the way down to like Chris Taylor is only 3,400 if you want to save money here. I like Jonathan Villar at 4,100. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's a reasonable amount of guys. I'll stop there.
Yeah, Story. So if I'm playing one Rockies player in cash, it's probably Story because you have 3 really good plays from Texas in the outfield. I really like Bryce Harper. So there's enough outfielders that I don't think Charlie Blackmon is a must. So if I'm playing one Rockies guy in cash today, it's probably Trevor Story. Agree that we're not playing Andrews. Like I'm playing Story or I'm dropping down. Didi Gregorius 4,600. I would rather play him than Elvis Andrews, for sure. VR I think is a good call. I like him a little bit. No one really cheap. You could probably look at Freddie Galvis if you want, 3,300. I played him in cash on FanDuel yesterday. He homered, so I might just be a little bit biased on that. But 3,300 is cheap if you need a punt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we'll finish up at outfield. So the Texas guys are going to be mega chalk, like Chu, Joe Gallo, Willie Calhoun. Those guys are going to be really high owned in cash games. I like Bryce. Bryce is my favorite pivot on the slate. I don't think Bryce is going to be very highly owned. I think he's a really good play. Do you have anyone that you like at the high tier or outside of like the Coors guys? Like Blackmon is obviously fine, but like I said, if I have to pick one Rockies player, I'm probably going to go with Story.
Yeah, I more or less agree. If I'm spending up in the outfield and I'm not playing Texas, it's more or less just going to be Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
I mean, the next highest that I'm probably willing to pay is like Eddie Rosario at 4,500.
Yeah, I was gonna say the twin Max and Rosario both are really good plays from the Twins.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think you have like cheaper guys too that just make great plays. Like, and I'll say this for super draft, Trent Grisham. I mean, he's cooled off now. He had a really hot start, but he can score fantasy points in so many different ways. He's 3,600 on DraftKings, so feel free to play him because Merrill Kelly is having a really good year, but I don't buy into it that he's just all of a sudden this great pitcher. He was good at home last year, so I'm a little bit worried that they're playing in Arizona, but Grisham is a fine tournament play. On Superdraft, he gets almost 2-time multiplier. It's 1.85 on his multiplier. And I mean, Grisham can homer against anyone. He can steal bases. So his upside is just ridiculous, especially if you're going to give him almost 2x.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. I like this Kyle Lewis kid a lot. 4,100 on DK against a lefty. I think you can use him. Jay Bruce hitting down in the Phillies order, 3,900. I think is a good play as well.
I'll add in Clint Frazier is only 4K. He's only hitting 8th.
Yeah, that's a good play. I feel bad for Clint Frazier. Just he's on like the worst possible team for him because there's just no room for him on that team when Stan and Judge are healthy. And it's kind of just like he's not really young anymore, right? Like he's been around for a while and he's never gotten a real chance.
And I think he's legit.
Yeah, he could be really good.
He's only 25.
Yeah, only 25. I mean, but like think about like if he was if he was on most other teams, he'd have like 2 full seasons of at bats under his belt. Like he just doesn't have anywhere to fit there, and they like refuse to trade him. So he's just kind of stuck, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean he definitely has potential, and he's relatively cheap. So I don't mind that at all. Thank you guys very much for watching. Before we head out, Bales, give me your home run call for today.
Oh man! Every time we take a break, I forget that this is what comes with it.
I know.
Let me go Jay Bruce. I'm going Jay Bruce.
Nice, that's good. I was gonna take Bryce as like an obvious one. If I want someone lower than that, I don't know, man. Jay Bruce, that was a good one.
Nailed it.
I was gonna say Alec Bohm, but we can't just take 3 Phillies. We gotta have someone else.
We can go all Phillies. That's fine.
I guess. I don't know. Anthony Rendon would be another one, probably. I think.
I like that.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out all of our free content at dfscover.com. We have free articles every day. It's really one of the best websites. We have tons of content every day for every sport. Premium, if you guys have been thinking about joining up, I think today would be a good time to do so. Obviously, it's a big slate. My DraftKings core plays 6-1 in their last 7. I know Bales has been doing really well in MLB and NBA. And Anthony's just been pure destruction of FanDuel, per usual, for him. So it's a really good time. We have affordable prices, and you get to join our Discord, which is, I mean, joining Discord's worth the price because you get to watch a GIF of Travis completely. I don't even know what he's doing with the football, but it's hilarious.
Honestly, the best GIF.
It's the best GIF I've ever seen. But thank you guys for watching. We'll be back on Monday with a baseball stream, and until then, we'll see you guys on Monday.